Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good morning. The devotional today will be led by Representative Elizabeth Burrows of West Windsor.
Good morning. Since the day I sent in my request to lead today's devotional, I've been contemplating how to kick off this day. I wanted to tell you about how in Finland, dignity is considered an innate quality so basic that it's written as a primary tenet in the Constitution, quote, that all children are born with dignity, unquote. I was going to share with you my own analysis of Frederick Douglass's autobiographical writing, and that he managed to point right to the line that separates Immanuel Kant and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Thought I'd spare you of that. And then I thought, the one thing that lights up these precepts and makes them useful for the work that we do here, even on the dampest, dreariest days at the end of a long legislative session, the thing that binds us in committees and allows us to give grace to each other and pushes us to touch on that dignity of all children, all Vermonters, all people, is love. And searching for a way to coalesce these thoughts in a dream I somehow miraculously had last night, I was reminded of the great poet and scholar Elizabeth Alexander's inaugural poem, Praise Song for the Day. Please enjoy it with me now. Praise Song for the Day by Elizabeth Alexander. Each day we go about our business, walking past each other, catching each other's eyes or not, about to speak or speaking. All about us is noise. All about us is noise and bramble, thorn and din, each one of our ancestors on our tongues. Someone is stitching up a hem, darning a hole in a uniform, patching a tire, repairing the things in need of repair. Someone is trying to make music somewhere with a pair of wooden spoons and an oil drum, with cello, boombox, harmonica, voice. A woman and her son wait for the bus. A farmer considers the changing sky. A teacher says, "Take out your pencils, begin." We encounter each other in words spiny or smooth, whispered or declaimed, words to consider, reconsider. We cross dirt roads and highways that mark the will of someone and then others who said, "I need to see what's on the other side." I know there's something better down the road. We need to find a place where we are safe. We walk into that which we cannot see. Say it plain, the many have died for this day. Sing the names of the dead who brought us here, who laid the train tracks, raised the bridges, picked the cotton and the lettuce, built brick by brick the glittering edifices they would then keep clean and work inside of. Praise song for struggle, praise song for the day, praise song for every hand-lettered sign, the figuring it out at kitchen tables. Some live by love thy neighbor as thyself, others by first do no harm or take no more than you need. What if the mightiest word is love? Love beyond marital, filial, national, love that casts a widening pool of light, love with no need to preempt grievance. In today's sharp sparkle, this winter air, anything can be made, any sentence begun. On the brink, on the brim, on the cusp, praise song for walking forward in that light. Thank you.
Members, we have two House bills for introduction this morning. House Bill 520 is an act relating to firearms licensing, registration, and insurance, introduced by Representative Morwicki of Putney. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 520, an act relating to firearms licensing, registration, and insurance.
Now the bill has been read a first time and is referred to the Committee on Judiciary. House Bill 521 is an act relating to firearms storage, introduced by Representative McCann of Montpelier. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 521, an act relating to firearms storage.
Now the bill has been read a first time and is referred to the Committee on Judiciary. We have one Senate bill for referral this morning. Senate Bill 141 is an act relating to approval of the Charter of Fairfax Fire District Number 1, introduced by Senator Renner. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S 141, an act relating to approval of the Charter of the Fairfax Fire District Number 1.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Government Operations and Military Affairs. We have a bill on the notice calendar requiring referral to a money committee pursuant to House Rule 35A. Senate Bill 6 is an act relating to law enforcement interrogation policies. Carrying an appropriation, the bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriations. We also have a bill requiring referral to a money committee pursuant to House Rule 35A pending its entry on the notice calendar. Senate Bill 100 is an act relating to housing opportunities made for everyone. The bill was reported out of the Committee on Ways and Means this morning, and carrying an appropriation, the bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriations. We now have a joint Senate resolution to take up at this time. JRS 26 is a joint resolution relating to weekend adjournment. It was offered by Senator Baruth and was read and adopted on the part of the Senate. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
JRS 26, Joint Resolution Relating to Weekend Adjournment. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that when the two houses adjourn on Friday, May 5th, 2023, it be to meet again no later than Tuesday, May 9th, 2023.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted in concurrence. Are there any announcements? Member from Lincoln.
Madam Speaker, in the gallery today are leaders from Vermont Parent-Child Centers, of which there are 15 across every region of the state. From January 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2022, the Vermont Parent-Child Center Network collectively served 12,463 children and 12,696 parents. Their collaborative support of children and families provides empowerment, strength, education, and hope. Please join me in welcoming them.
Will the guest, the member from Lincoln, please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Brattleboro.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have two guests today, my two interns from UVM who've been working with me all session and have done a fabulous job. They are Victoria Landino from Harrison, New York, and Maura Fox from Rochester, New York. Victoria is a junior at UVM and Maura is graduating. So please give them a warm welcome. They are in the balcony, I believe.
Will the guest of the member from Brattleboro please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from South Burlington.
Thank you, Speaker. I have my father visiting today. He's flown from Florida to help me with my family duties for the remainder of the session. And he's my first visitor to the House, so please give him a warm welcome.
Will the family member of the member from South Burlington please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Rutland City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just another reminder that the Working Vermonters Caucus will meet at noon at the Pavilion Building. The discussion will be childcare. Lunch will be served and all are welcome. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, orders of the day. Members, it's my understanding that the Healthcare Committee needs more time on House Bill 473. So with that, we'll start with House Bill 490. House Bill 490 is an act relating to approving the merger of the Village of Lyndonville and the Town of Linden. Prior to third reading, the member from Pittsford offers an amendment that is printed into today's calendar. Member from Pittsford.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. When H490 came to the floor yesterday, and I noticed that there was some language in it concerning covered bridges in Vermont, and I expressed my passion for preserving these bridges, I was particularly concerned that we made sure that the town of Linden and Lyndonville, after they merge, will have all the tools in the toolbox that they need to protect their covered bridge. Many of us don't know that last year, your Transportation Committee spent a considerable amount of time reviewing statutes and putting in new statutes concerning the protection of these bridges. So much so that there are actually 4 other sections of Title 23 beyond the section in the charter change that deal with covered bridges. So I wanted to make sure that the town and village of Linden knew of all the requirements that they needed to perform to make sure that they had the best possible chance of winning a civil action should their bridge be further damaged than they're in court. So with the help of legislative counsel, they kind of talked me off the ledge a little bit. But I did bring an amendment, and you can find that on page 2640 in today's calendar. And I want to thank the Committee on Government Operations for hearing my plea this morning. And in spite of their busy schedule, they did hear me out and treated me with respect. So in the amendment, what we're saying today is we've changed the title of the amendment a bit to make sure that the town of Linden knows, and this whole amendment is centered around the town of Linden only, that this is an increased penalty for violation of the legal limits resulting in damage. The rest of the language stays the same until we get to the end where we talk about doing damage to the covered bridge. I've added, and with the help of Ledge Council again, the words provided that the covered bridge has a limit set pursuant to 23 VSA 1397A. That section of title talks about weight limits on covered bridges. Beyond the height and the width problems that we have hitting the top of the bridges, the weight limits are extremely important on covered bridges because they do hidden damage. Any vehicle that goes over a covered bridge that's overweight, and most of our bridges are posted at 16,000 pounds or less, does irreparable damage to a covered bridge that could be hidden for years. So in that title, in this title change, it also requires the town to post those weight limits of that particular bridge in a conspicuous place, along with other posting that they have to do throughout the title. So, Madam Speaker, that's my amendment. There's nothing simple about anything in this building, but I think this is a clear-cut example of the legislature showing their concern for covered bridges. And with that, members, I ask for your support in this amendment.
Member from Milton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We thank the member from Pittsford for his testimony committee this morning. It allows for the town of Linden to collect these civil penalties as long as they have properly posted the warnings prior to the entrances to the covered bridges. The committee found the amendment favorable on a vote of 11-0-1, and we ask for your support on the amendment and the parent bill. Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill be amended as offered by the member from Pittsford? Are you ready for the question? Member from Linden.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, I would like to thank the representative from Pittsford for bringing this amendment. As I said yesterday, that bridge gets hit about 6-7 times a year. And so I think it's, one of the town's pride is our covered bridges. And we want to make sure that they're still going to be able to handle the transportation that goes across the bridges. And I also want to thank the Committee on Government Operations for taking this up and for voting this out. And I'll be voting yes, of course, and I hope the rest of the body does too. Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill be amended as offered by the member from Pittsford? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have amended the bill. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 490, an act relating to approving the merger of the Village of Lyndonville with the Town of Linden.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Now we'll take up House Bill 506, which is an act relating to approval of amendments to the election boundary provisions of the Charter of the City of Burlington. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 506, an act relating to approval of amendments to the election boundary provisions of the Charter of the City of Burlington.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Next is House Bill 507, which is an act relating to approval of amendments to the polling place provisions of the Charter of the City of Burlington. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 507, an act relating to approval of amendments to the polling place provisions of the Charter of the City of Burlington.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Next is House Bill 508, which is an act relating to approval of an amendment to the ranked choice voting provisions of the Charter of the City of Burlington. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 508, an act relating to approval of an amendment to the ranked choice voting provisions of the Charter of the City of Burlington.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Next is House Bill 509, which is an act relating to approval of amendments to the voter qualification provisions of the Charter of the City of Burlington. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 509, an act relating to approval of amendments to the voter qualification provisions of the Charter of the City of Burlington.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Member from Northfield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. At the end of the debate yesterday, I made a very brief comment distinguishing about why I had supported the Montpelier charter change and why I had not supported the Winooski charter change, the distinction being the inclusion of the vote on the school budget, which implicates the statewide education fund, which was also included in Burlington. And Madam Speaker, I'm not trying to argue anyone change their vote, but I think people do need to make an informed decision. And I think there was a great deal of misunderstanding when there were suggestions that the Supreme Court case in Vermont that made a decision on the Montpelier charter change in January in somehow also ratified the Winooski charter change, which in the language of the court's decision clearly did not. It is an undecided issue at this point. That had been my recollection, but I went back to read the court's opinion and wanted to share with the body the key difference. The decision in the Montpelier case was what was called a facial challenge, which means a challenge to the whole works, not just a specific issue. And basically the argument was, these days, anything in a local election implicates statewide issues in some way, so any local election is basically statewide in its impact and cannot be upheld under the constitutional requirements for statewide voting. And the court said that they did not agree that all municipal affairs today are statewide. The argument that there are no more local elections because of statewide impact, it did not agree with. What it did say, Madam Speaker, if I could read one of the sentences from the opinion.
You may.
Because plaintiffs bring a facial challenge, we need not define the line between local or municipal and statewide issues in this opinion. It went on to say that it disagreed that in this opinion, it therefore eliminated judicial review of what constitutes a municipal issue or a municipal election or not. And it went on very explicitly, Madam Speaker, if I can read this one other sentence.
You may.
It is a different legal question to determine whether a specific vote is properly municipal or statewide, and one not presented in this case. Madam Speaker, what the court was saying very clearly is specific questions about whether a specific issue, such as a school budget vote, which would be a specific issue because it would theoretically have a more clear impact on a specific statewide issue, that being the education fund, was not being decided. I'm not in any way suggesting that the court would find the Winooski Charter unconstitutional. It may very well find it constitutional. The point is simply it has not decided that issue at this point. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Now we'll take up Senate Bill 17, which is an act relating to sheriff reforms. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
S17, an act relating to sheriff reforms.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence with proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill in concurrence with proposal of amendment. Next is Senate Bill 99, which is an act relating to miscellaneous changes to laws related to vehicles. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
S99, an act relating to miscellaneous changes to laws related to vehicles.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence with proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? Member from St. Johnsbury.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The member from Orwell asked a question yesterday during second reading that I did not know the answer to. The question was regarding the total abstinence program and whether medical cannabis is meant to be exempted in the definition of drug. May I read from that section of the bill, Madam Speaker?
May.
For reference, this is Title 23 VSA 1209A, Conditions of Reinstatement. It's at the bottom of the page 2544 in yesterday's calendar. Total abstinence program, as used in this subsection, drug means a regulated drug as defined in 18 VSA section 4201 that is used in any way other than as prescribed for a legitimate medical use in conformity with instructions from the prescriber. Medical cannabis does not fit the exception under other than prescribed for legitimate use, legitimate medical use, since under federal law, it is a controlled substance and cannot be prescribed. The commissioner assured me yesterday that DMV does not support participation in the medical cannabis registry for those in the total abstinence program. Contrary to my statement yesterday, the commissioner did mention this in testimony. Somehow I missed that. It was also vetted at length in committee last year when these updates were first proposed. I have a better excuse for not knowing that since I was not on the committee at that time. I hope that answers the concern of the member.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence with proposal of amendment? Member from Orwell.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to thank the member for the answer now and also thank the members of the committee for getting together with me after the session yesterday and chatting about my question and getting me an answer then as well. So thank you.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence with proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill in concurrence with proposal of amendment. Next is House Bill 469, which is an act relating to allowing remote witnesses and explainers for Ulysses Clause in an advance directive. The bill was referred to the Committee on Human Services, which recommends that the bill be amended as printed in today's calendar. The member from South Burlington, Representative Hyman, will speak for the committee. Please listen to the second reading of the bill.
H 469, an act relating to allowing remote witnesses and explainers for a Ulysses Clause in an advance directive.
Member from South Burlington.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. H 469, found on page 2641 of today's calendar. This bill would permanently continue the COVID-era practice of allowing people to create and change advance directives remotely. During the depths of the pandemic of COVID-19, people were in a rush to change their advance directives. Prior to COVID, a lengthy paper process and arrangement of meetings with multiple parties was necessary to enact or alter one's advance directive. When COVID hit our state, many realized that contracting COVID could possibly require being placed on a ventilator. A great many of our citizens wished to change their advance directives to allow this medical practice, knowing that COVID was new and required a change or shift in planning for the future. So this body, wisely, during the pandemic, allowed for remote witnesses, clinicians, and explainers to use a live audio-video connection to do that work. The convenience and commonplace occurrence of advanced directives in healthcare management showed our committee how necessary it was for us to make these changes permanent. When the legislature allowed for advanced directives to be changed remotely, it did so for a limited time. The authority to do so ends on March 31st, 2024. H 469 makes this change permanent. So going into the sections, Section 1 created two new definitions, one being a digital signature, which is defined as an electronic identifier intended by the user to have the same force and effect as a manual signature, and that includes several enumerated safeguards to ensure its security. Second, remote witness, which is defined as a witness who is not physically present when a principal signs an advance directive. Section 2, 18 VSA 9703, form and execution. This makes permanent the ability to have one or both witnesses, the clinicians and explainers, to a principal signing of advance directive, and it can be remote if certain conditions are met, and this is already authorized through March 31st, 2024 by the COVID flexibility legislation. They can explain through a live interactive audio-video connection or by telephone, and it also allows for digital signatures. Section 3, this section addresses Ulysses clauses, which are optional provisions under authorized existing law in which a principal can allow a specifically named agent in the event that the principal lacks capacity to authorize or withhold healthcare over the principal's objection. Current law requires additional steps to execute the Ulysses Clause, including the principal's clinician must sign the provision and affirm that the principal appeared to understand the benefits, risks, and alternatives to the healthcare being authorized or rejected in the provision. And the neutral individual must sign a statement affirming that they explain the nature and effect of the provision to the principal, and the principal appeared to understand it and to be free from duress or undue influence. The bill, 469, would require that the first time a principal executes a Ulysses Clause provision, the clinician and the explainer each must be physically present in the same location as the principal for their assessment from the clinician and the explanation from the explainer. But they do not need to be there at the same time. The bill would specify that if the principal later executes a new advance directive containing a Ulysses Clause, the clinician and explainer do not need to be physically present in the same location or at the same time. And then through a live interactive audio video connection, but not by telephone. The bill allows the principal, the agent, the clinician to use digital signatures. In Section 4, this section sets an end date, resets the end date from March 31st, 2024 for remote witness provisions in current law that were enacted during the COVID pandemic, and then addresses advance directives executed between February 15th, 2020 and March 31st, 2024. The remote witnessing provisions in Section 2 will apply to all advance directives on or after April 1st, 2024. Section 5, the act takes effect on April 1st, 2024. And with passage, the title will be amended to read an act relating to remote and electronic processes for executing an advance directive. We have many witnesses: the Director and Chief Counsel of Office of Legislative Counsel, Executive Director and Clinical Ethicist from Vermont Ethics Network, State Long-Term Care Ombudsman from Vermont Legal Aid, the Executive Director, Vermont Healthcare Association, Chair, VBA Probate and Trust Law Section, Policy Director, Alzheimer's Association Vermont Chapter, Vice President of the Board of Vermont Psychiatric Survivors. The bill passed 11-0-0. And that's it. Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill be amended as recommended by the Committee on Human Services? Are you ready for the question? Member from Orwell.
Madam Speaker, as an attorney practicing in an area where I frequently advise my clients regarding advance directives, I just wanted to thank the committee for their hard work on this. Having reviewed it, I think it's an excellent step forward in approving the process, and I certainly wholeheartedly support this, look forward to voting on it, and look forward to integrating it into my practice.
The question is, shall the bill be amended as recommended by the Committee on Human Services? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have amended the bill. Now the question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for that question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and third reading is ordered. Members, that completes our work for this morning. The House will stand in recess until the fall of the gavel at 3 p.m.